Hello everybody, my name is Maria and this is my presentation on the general function of the organ systems by actually naming the organ systems. So we have the integumentary system, the skeletal, muscular, nervous, endocrine, cardiovascular, lymphatic, digestive. We have the urinary, the reproductive, and of course the respiratory system. So each of these systems actually has its own function. So we're going to go ahead and start with the integumentary system. Some of the major organs include the skin, the hair, the nails, sweat glands, and sebaceous glands. Also, fun fact, the skin is actually the largest organ in your body. So moving on to the functions, the integumentary system is responsible for protection. So this is by the use of sebaceous glands. Sebaceous glands will secrete acids that will act as a barrier for microbes that might be trying to penetrate into the skin. It is also responsible for body temperature regulation. This is by the use of sweat glands. So sweat glands will actually respond to change in temperature, specifically the rise in temperature. So when body temperature rises, whenever you're working out or when you have a really bad fever, sweat is actually secreted by the sweat glands to try to cool your body down. It is also responsible for sensory reception when it comes to pain or pressure and the production of vitamin D. And this occurs when your body is exposed to sunlight. And so your body will produce vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important because it helps with the regulation of calcium and phosphate in the body. Moving on, we have the skeletal system. So the major organs of the skeletal system are, of course, the bones, ligaments, cartilages. So some of the functions include providing framework. So think of your body a as a building, and buildings are composed of framing. Your bones and skeletal system, which is the same thing, they actually provide that framework for your body to be able to function correctly. It also is responsible for attachment sites for muscles. So think of sheetrock in a house or a building as the muscles attaching to the skeletal system, and that's the building of your body. It also helps protect soft tissues such as organs. Major organs like your brain, your heart, your lungs, they're all being protected by the skeletal system. It is also responsible for production of blood cells. Blood cells are actually composed in the red bone marrow. And of course, the support of movement of the body. Moving on, we have the muscular system. So the muscular system, of course, the major organs are going to be the muscles. And some of the functions of the system include causing movements, maintaining posture, and producing heat. The nervous system, some of the major organs include, of course, the brain, spinal cord, nerves, and sensory organs. And some of the functions are to detect changes in your environment, of course, receive and interpret sensory information from those changes. So if it's hot outside or if it's cold outside, you're going to begin to shiver. That's your nervous system reacting to that sensory information. Of course, it helps to stimulate muscles and glands. Moving on, we have the endocrine system. So the endocrine system actually has a lot of glands that are major organs of this system. So some of those glands, of course, secrete hormones, and they include the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the parathyroid gland, the adrenal glands, and the pineal gland. Of course, the major organs are the pancreas, ovaries, testes, and the thymus. So the function is to actually control metabolic activities of the body. Moving on, we have the cardiovascular system. Of course, the major organs of this system are the heart, arteries, capillaries, and veins. And some of the functions of the cardiovascular system is to move blood through blood vessels and transport substances throughout the body. Arteries carry oxygenated blood from the heart away from it. So think of the A in arteries and the A in away matching. And so that's how you know arteries carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. Veins actually carry oxygen depleted blood. This means that they carry blood that does not have oxygen and they carry it back to the heart. And a fun fact is actually the pulmonary vein is the only vein that carries oxygenated blood. And usually in books, veins are a blue color and arteries are a red color. You would think that it'd be, differently, but that's just what they usually use in books to separate the two. Moving on, we do have the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system has major organs that include the lymphatic vessels, the lymph nodes, the thymus, and the spleen. And the functions include returning tissue fluid to the blood, carrying certain absorbed food molecules, and defending the body against infection. The digestive system is next, and the major organs include the mouth, tongue, teeth, salivary glands, pharynx, the esophagus, the stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the small intestine, which is composed of 3 different parts, which are called the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum, and of course the large intestine. And a fun fact is that the small intestine is actually longer than the large intestine. So the functions of the digestive system are obviously very self-explanatory. It is to receive, break down, and absorb food and eliminate unabsorbed material. The urinary system. The major organs include the kidneys, the uterus, the urinary bladder, and the urethra. And the functions include removing waste from the blood, maintaining water and electrolyte balance, and of course storing and eliminating urine. Moving on, we have the reproductive system. So major organs of the reproductive system in men are the scrotum, the testes, the epididymis, the ductus differentia, seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and the bulbourethral gland. And the function is to produce and maintain sperm cells, transfer that sperm cell into a woman's reproductive tract to make a baby. And of course, the urethra as well is a major organ, and the penis. For women, the major organs include the ovaries, the uterine tubes, the uterus, the vagina, the clitoris, the vulva. And the function is to produce and maintain egg cells, receive sperm cells, support development of an embryo, a baby, and functioning in the birth process. Moving on, last but not least, we have the respiratory system. So the respiratory system, the major organs include the nasal cavity, the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, the bronchi, of course the lungs. And some of the functions include intake and output of air, the exchange of gases between air and the blood. So the respiratory system actually takes oxygen from the air and it gets rid of carbon dioxide. And this is very, very, very essential for the living of a human because oxygen and carbon dioxide move between the bloodstream of the lungs. So just to quickly recap, these are all of the skeletal, muscular, nervous, endocrine, cardiovascular, the lymphatic, digestive, the respiratory system. And all of these systems, of course the urinary, all these systems actually each have their own special job, but they work together hand in hand to keep your body healthy. For example, your bones and your muscles work together to support and move your body just as the digestive system would work, as well as the cardiovascular system works hand in hand with the nervous system, and the nervous system works with the integumentary system. For example, whenever it's cold outside, your body, your skin, the integumentary system will actually detect that change and it will send a signal to the nerve through the nervous system to start shivering because you're cold. So that's my presentation, and I hope you guys learned something. And that's the end.